So we are at the end of conference, but growth is one of the major part as far as LNG is concerned. And if we have a look at the history of last 21 years of LNG in India, way back in 2004, we started with 1.25 million tons of LNG imports at the Dahej terminal in 2004. Today, the LNG imports in terms of volumes are at 27 million tons. So that marks about 13.5% of growth over last 21 years. So the numbers are quite okay, because 13% growth is considered to be a very large growth. But for a size of country of India, I think at present with 52 million tons of, or rather 57 million tons of LNG regasification capacity, we should be having at least 45 million tons of LNG imports. Like the way China has grown, I remember that China's first LNG terminal had come up a year later at Guangdong with 3 million tons capacity. And today China is importing about 80 million tons of 85 million tons of LNG. So that's the growth perspective. Yes, we should be doing more, and we should be doing more in future as well. But what basically happens when you talk about the growth, and what are the major point of views of growth for a fuel which is not been very popular way back in 2004, LNG was not being heard. So how was it made popular in Indian marketplace? So what happened was that we in fact, while negotiating with Qataris for 7.5 million tons of LNG, Qataris gave a sort of special price, and that special price was a market development price. So, though of course, subsequently, market development price in the sense that first 5 years they would give a fixed price, and the next 5 years they would give a price increasing with 2% every month or so. So that is the way, that is the way the Qataris gave us the price, and our market could develop. At the same time, Chinese at their import terminal in Guangdong were also having a contract with Northwest Shelf of Australia for 3 million tons, and that price also was as comparable as our price was. So, these two markets have grown, but the way things are, China has taken over much beyond 2012, because up to 2012, China was importing lesser than India, but after 2012, they went much faster than us, and they used LNG in a very big way in every sector. So I think we should be looking at the advantage of pricing, in the sense that when you have a Brent indexation price at 12 to 13% slope, your prices are always at around 28 to 30% lower compared to the oil, and it would be somewhere around 40% lower to the petroleum products. So that's the strategy on which China has worked in their automotive sectors and other industry sectors. Also, that one very important thing, we have Mr. Atul from ISPRL. So we went in for the oil storages way back in 2000. Of course, the ISPRL was formed by the government with OIDB funding in 2006. And three storages were fully funded by the government at three locations at Vizag, Mangalore, and Padur, that's close to Manipal. Uh, they were, in fact, funded by the government funding of OIDB, and these storages were completed in 2014 with 5.33 million tons of oil. Now, the storages could not be filled for a period of about 5 to 6 years. And in 2020, when the oil prices came down to $20 per barrel, uh, ISPRL ordered the entire 5 million tons of oil at $20 per barrel. And all the storages were filled with the 5 million tons of oil at that price, though some capacity was leased out to Abu Dhabi Oil Company. I think we should also be going in for the gas storages because there are there are times when you have lower LNG prices. You could import LNG and store it in a regasified form in storages. So we are now talking about the gas storages as well. So I think, yeah, it's quite important that in order for a growth as well as to provide a security of supplies of natural gas, we should be building at least 5 to 10 million tons of gas storages like we have 5 million tons of oil, 5.33 million tons of oil storages, and new storages are coming up at Chandipur in Orissa. And what's the capacity of? Padur and Chandipur. So that's another 5 million tons, I believe.
Padur is 2.5 million metric tons.
No. The new storages. 4 million tons. So I think accordingly, the gas also we should be working on as far as the strategic storages are concerned. So now coming to the growth engines for LNG resilience. My questions is that looking at the growth pattern of LNG in last 21 years since 2004, and what should be our strategy for LNG imports? Should it be on a long-term basis or the spot basis? And what should be the mix of that? Should it be 75% long-term and 25% short-term or spot cargoes, or should it be 90% long-term and 10% spot basis? So what should be our growth and what should be the rate of growth going forward for the LNG import, looking at the condition of industry and the requirement of industry, and also looking at the price of LNG in future, and also the availability in American market, the way the Qataris are enhancing their capacity from 77 million tons to about 125, 130 million tons, because they're putting in additional 40 million tons of capacity. The US is also going to come up with additional 50 million tons of LNG in next 4 to 5 years time frame. So what should be our growth strategy in view of the LNG being made available in next 5 to 10 years time frame? So Atul, you also have to tell us about the storage story, how the LNG storages could also come up in India.
First of all, I would like to thanks for inviting me in the August session, and thanks to our audience also. And I'm Atul Gupta, Deputy CEO from ISPRL, and I'm looking mainly after storages. So sir is invited from the point of view of storage. Regarding first question, what he has told, my view in LNG, though I'm not much, but being from oil industry, we should follow the pattern of mix of the two long-term strategy, as we are right now having almost 65% long-term with Qatar and UAE. 50% of the LNG import is coming from these two places and other countries also. And spot also we have to take care. And when gap between spot and this long-term price is less, that will be the best time to we should go for the purchase of this LNG. And at present, in the this energy mix basket, around 6% is the gas share. So target by 2030 is around 15%. And at present, as we know, around 27 million metric ton per annum is the LNG import. So going for this 15%, we should enhance our capacity to 120 million metric ton per annum. This is what I feel. So we have to develop our capacities, and a few places capacities are already there. Like in Kochi, this terminal was not utilized much, around 20 to 23% of the capacity, but now I think GAIL is laying grid, and this is being connected. So with that connectivity, supply can be given to in Calcutta and all that area. Regarding this storage, what sir is saying, we have, sir has told in quite detail about ISPRL. We have, in first phase, we have storage of 3 storages we have, one at Padur, one at Mangalore, and one at Vizag. Vizag is 1.03 is ISPRL and 0.3 is HPCL. And Mangalore is 1.5 million metric ton, and Padur existing is 2.5 million metric ton, totaling to 2.5 million metric ton of crude oil storage capacity we have right now. And these are unlined rock caverns where we store the crude inside the granite, deep inside the earth. We make the tunnel-like structure that is around 30 meter deep below the mean sea level. And this oil inside this is contained by water curtain around, so that it does not seep inside the porous formation. The granite is has very less porosity and permeability, so chances of seepage is less, but still we have to maintain the pressure and contain this oil by the water curtain. That type of site we are finding while land acquisition. So these are the 3 existing storages, and this was in phase 1. And now in phase 2, Government of India plan is 2 more storages, that is, as sir has told, 2.5 million metric ton in Padur and 4 million metric ton in this Chandikol. Land acquisition and further processes are on, and we are planning to go in PPP mode, and these are finalized for PPP mode. And so this.
But what you're thinking about, because ISPRL is a strategic reserves. So what you're thinking about the gas strategic reserves? And I think, we do need the gas strategic reserves also in India. So what's your thinking about being in?
Yeah, Mr. Sama, we do agree. It's true. We need to have a gas strategic storage, and for gas strategy, we have 2 options actually. One is in dry gas wells we can store. This is one option, and a depleted field, and these are being already in not by ISPA but by other upstream oil companies. They are doing. They are trying to store, finding places where we can store these gases in the depleted formation. And second is we can store this in the salt cavern. Salt cavern is the place where we can, like in many Western countries, they have salt caverns, salt domes are there. So they drill the well in the formation and they approach the salt bed, and with the solution mining, they dissolve the salt, and cavity is created inside the salt dome and salt bed, and there we can store the gas, which is very good for gas storage, and we can get a very high capacity at a very low cost. So we are also in the process, right now we are involved with the salt cavern, but we are also exploring for salt cavern feasibility, and maybe now things are going on. So that, but it is in very initial stage, and we are thinking,
but Atul,
but right now we are focusing main on the oil, because this gas is, we are mainly, ISPL is right now focusing on the oil storage, sir.
But I believe that you should float a paper in ministry for gas storages as well. I think because it takes time and you being a strategic company of Government of India, I believe that you should.
MOPNJ is very positive and they are looking after all the options and they are really very supportive and in this reserve, they are Government of India and MOPNJ taking a lot of, they're giving lot of facility in ISPL and very approachable. So, and they are also in this line that we have to go ahead with this and things will come.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Basit, you have a large number of CGD-GAs. Now, you would be requiring a good amount of regasified LNG or natural gas for your GAs and all. So what's your view for the long-term strategy for gas or LNG sourcing and how it could be, I mean, more affordable, viable? So what's your Adani IOC's strategy for sourcing of natural gas in next for next 20 years to come?
Good afternoon, all. First of all, at the outset, thank you very much, Messi Frankfurt, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure joining such panels. Obviously, it's also a privilege with Dr. Sharma as the moderator. Sir, as we, Indian Oil Adani Gas, we have a CGD in 19 geographical areas, which comprises of 33 districts across 10 states. So this is all are operational through pipelines, and therefore there is a huge requirement with a growing. Some of these GAs are also have the good industrial clusters and potential, which is growing. Our rate of growth today is almost, we grow at the rate of almost 30% an annum. Our volumes grow at that level. Entire industry also grows at about 12 to 15% as a CGD sector. For us, gas sourcing is a very important thing because now that domestic gas, especially the APM gas, is almost at 30% level. So 70% comes only from the non-APM at the market priced gas. Some of it, yes, gets through HPHT, but largely it comes from LNG. Being a utility, we are completely mindful of the fact that we are a utility and we need to be having gas at all times at a price which is quite reasonable or okay or absorbable by the customers. Therefore, we as a strategy, as a company, we believe in long-term gas. And long-term in the sense, for us, long-term starts from 5 years. Okay, so there's I think terminology gap could be there between a bulk suppliers as well as us. For CGD, the long term starts with 5 years. It can go up to 10 years or even more. We have relied on 5 years to kind of contract, 5-year term contract that gives us flexibility to look at the price every few years. Our 70 to 80% dependency is on the term contract. Only towards the delta which gets created because of the growth comes from the short term, that is also 1 year or 2 years, but we do not buy any spot contracts. So that's as a CGD we are very clear on that. But yes, sometimes you have opportunities which entices us to get into some kind of spot purchase here or there. That's a different thing, but by and large, we are on a long-term contract because that's the kind of responsibility we have towards the customers also.
In fact, that's the advantage of long-term contract, that at least the price uniformity is there. The price spot contracts, of course, the price volatility is
Yes.
higher. So that's a good way because indexation with oil, at least you know what price you're going to pay. So coming to Deepak, your gas exchange is just 5 years old, and you have done a good work, to be very frank, and the volumes which are trading on exchange are also quite significant. Though 5 years back, looking at the monopolistic gas market and also the protected gas market in India, nobody thought that the volumes of gas could be sold on exchange. But you have been doing quite well as far as the volumes of gas exchange, the volumes of gas being traded on exchange in a big quantities and all. So what you think, and what's your view, the long-term view for the growth of gas market? Because if there is a growth of gas market, obviously there would be a growth of gas being traded on exchange as well. So what's your thinking about the growth of gas market, and what should facilitate for it to be traded on your exchange?
Thank you, Dr. Saab. You're 100% right. We envisaged this IGX somewhere in 2005, 2006. But still we waited for 14 years so that gas exchange regulations can be formed. But finally in 2020, we came out with the pure trading platform. That time there were no gas exchange regulations. We took that dive. Let's see what will happen. The post that government also thought that exchange is a very important, you can say, medium if they have to increase the market share from 6 to 15%. So accordingly, they came out with the gas exchange regulations, and today we are the only exchange authorized by PNGRB in operation for last almost 5 years. So the journey has been, you can say, we have worked really hard to reach at this stage. So initially, the only success story we had was IEX. So we had tasted success in electricity market. So we tried to replicate that model in gas. So luckily we could get important strategic investors in GAIL, IOCL, ONGC, Adani, Torrent, then further financial exchange like NSE also joined. So today where we are, this is because of their support. You can say 95% of the market players are using IGX platform to either sell the molecules or buy the molecules. So coming to your question, my view would be that long-term contracts are the requirement, but take or pay should be maybe 60% or 70%. Maybe 30% you are always exposed to spot market, because you never know where the market will be after 2 to 3 years. The important part is the indexation. So the important indexation available in the market are, say, Brent or WIM or JKM. So today we have our own index, that is GIXI. May not be that liquid, but going forward maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, you will see GIXI also as an indexation where the prices or the molecules would be bought and sold at the domestic indexation. And we would require support from Mr. Gupta, because right now there are only physical players on IGX. So if you want to attract the financial players, we need the strategic storage. So in order to increase the churning ratio, or in order to increase the liquidity on the exchange, we need strategic storage, the same concept which we see in Europe and US, where the churning ratio is more than 20, somewhere it is close to 100. But India, we are just 1 or 2 times, you can say. So with the natural gas coming in GST ambit, maybe 5 years or 6 years, and along with that, the strategic storage, you will see GIXI gaining attraction, and we will slowly move from international benchmarks to domestic benchmarks. So that would be our success story, maybe we can say. But LNG market, we can just facilitate the trades. So looking at our experience, we have already introduced SSLNG contract, which we feel would be a flavor of future. We have seen the China market, how the volumes have been, because we know that domestic production will be around 50%, which is currently at 50%. And if we have to increase to say 15%, this growth will come from LNG. And just for your knowledge, we have already started exploring LNG contract also on desk basis. So we have already made one presentation to our regulators. So maybe going forward, you will see a pure LNG contract also listed on all the LNG terminals on IGX. So this is what we can do from our side. You might see a regas capacity contract also. We are in discussions with HPCL. We might have a pilot project at Chara. So we are doing our bit. Let's see. We'll provide all the, you can say, tools for the increase in this energy consumption in India.
Yeah, but it's a good source to get. I mean, IGX is a good source to, quote LNG if someone has LNG or natural gas, if someone has it available to be sold, to be sold on short-term or long-term basis, and someone who has a need, he can always. So this is a new thing which has happened in Indian market, and that's good that, yes, it's growing in a large way. Now, coming to you, Vivek, you are a different industry, and sometimes the iron and steel industry finds it difficult to absorb gas or LNG prices or its DRI technology, and we do have the imported coking coal-based blast furnace technology, which number of steel plants are using. We do have one Jindal plant, which is on the syngas basis, syngas DRI basis, but obviously they have coal blocks allocated at a very low price. They themselves are mining coal from a coal block which was allotted to them some 15, 20 years back. And the cost of production of coal from that coal comes at very, very low prices because they themselves operate. And through the syngas process, the gas which comes to the plant of Jindal, that turns out to be quite affordable. But let us say, for a new developed steel industry, iron or steel plant, if you want to use the imported LNG or gas, what would be your take to use LNG or natural gas at what prices so that it becomes affordable in your plant, the steel plant?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me on this stage and letting me know about our company and answering this question. So first and foremost, about ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel, it is not known that we actually import almost 2 cargoes a month, and that is primarily for our steel making. So we are one of the largest user of natural gas in the steel industry. We use that thing to manufacture steel as well as produce power for our captive requirement. Given that thing, since LNG is considered to be pretty expensive compared to coal, we have to use multiple strategies to make it affordable and compete with the coal-based manufacturers of steel. Now, for that thing, we employed different techniques. We primarily book our capacities for purchase of LNG on a term basis, and we vary the term from 5 to 10 year basis. Some can go as low as 3. Our prime objective for booking of the LNG is the cost associated with on a landed basis for our plant. In addition to that thing, we also use hedging strategies to contain the volatility in the prices, and we try to optimize our natural gas purchases by doing some kind of a swaps to make a little more affordability out of this. For a new plant per se, like if in case somebody would like to put up a new plant, for them definitely the cost would be a major question, whether they will be able to get natural gas at a cheaper rate where they will be able to compete with coal-based steel manufacturing. If you look at current scenario with the current met coke rates in the globe, you will find natural gas landed cost at about $6.50 to be affordable or matching or competing with these kind of steel manufacturers. So for that thing, eventually, like for that thing to happen, we need to understand that there has to be some additional incentives which needs to be provided for the industries to get into a gas-based steel manufacturing. Some sort of incentives in sort of conversion when if in case it is getting converted from coal, or if in case they are adding up more gas in their portfolio, additional benefit in terms of public procurement, which can come in form of a green steel. Just to share with you, IAMNS is currently one of the greenest steel producer. We, our carbon footprint is roughly about 2.15 tons of CO2 per ton of crude steel, compared to the industry benchmark, industry average of about 2.53. So with that particular thing, more and more to increase gas usage, an additional benefit which can come in form of a green steel procurement, which qualifies a gas-based steel in the public procurement, will definitely help. Additionally, when we look at the other fuels, the coal per se, which is in GST, gas in GST makes it further expensive. So gas, if in case we are able to reduce the cost of imported gas by reducing further the customs duty or making it nil, additionally, we bring it under GST, that will definitely help in reducing the cost price of gas and may make it affordable.
No, that's very important because for a that's very important because the price volatility and the higher prices beyond the $6 to $7 per barrel really don't suit iron and steel industry. So that's and that's the way. I mean, in fact, there was a committee about 8 years back. Aruna Sharma was steel secretary, and they wanted LNG or natural gas to be allocated to the steel plants. But then again, the price volatility, the prices itself was one of the major issue. Now, that's many industries to use the LNG as a feedstock or fuel. For about, since 2004 onward, when the first LNG cargo came, the fertilizer industry was averse to using LNG. But then what happened was fertilizer industry, being a protected industry with the subsidy, we did a number of committees suggested that fine, I mean, you could keep a cap of $8 per million BTU for urea production in the country, so that would be a viable both for the government of India as well as for the fertilizer industry. But then, in fact, the committees I suggested that if you keep a cap of, let us say, $8 per million BTU, you may not be able to get LNG because LNG price volatility is not according to what you like, but it's according to what the market likes. So in 2010, the committee suggested $8, but in 2012, another committee suggested $10. So that's the way they were increasing. But finally, I mean, the NPS2, new pricing system for urea 2, that was decided in 2014, and I suggested to them that better thing would be that you do the urea prices pass through, I mean the gas prices pass through in the urea price computation system, and let it be, I mean, whatever subsidies you give, that you give on the ultimate production cost of urea. So there the gas prices or the LNG prices are made pass through, and fine, and obviously, I mean, you increase the production of urea by that methodology, and you will have to, I mean, with that you will reduce the imports of urea as well. So fortunately, I mean, so whatever may be the urea prices, whatever may be the LNG prices, if they are passed through, in urea subsidy, it works well. And that the government provides subsidy on urea. So that was accepted, and today our total LNG consumption in the fertilizer plants is 55 to 60% of total LNG imported, and our total production of urea has gone up by about 10 million tons vis-a-vis when we made this policy in 2014. Our total production of urea is about 32 million tons. It used to be around 21, 22 million tons in 2014. So again, I mean, that, and our imports have also gone down because the import vis-a-vis domestic production still happens to be at a lower price compared to what we, the price at which we import urea. So that's one of the way we did work out as far as the urea, use of LNG in urea is concerned. But yes, would like to know your point of views on price volatility effects on the demand creation of LNG in different sectors, like you mentioned about steel sector, but yes, the price volatility, how it should be contained, because during last 2 days, number of people discussed about the price volatility, but yes, how should it be contained and what should be the best measure to contain the price volatility of LNG? Though it's a difficult question to ask, but yes, any views on that?
Regarding price volatility, what I feel is that we should go for, we should try for long-term contracts as we are going, and we should see when in Western countries demand is less, at that time LNG prices are less. At that time we should try for more spots, and this one prices will be less. That may help. And in India also we are having a lot of infrastructure right now. So we should try to use full infrastructure by timely importing the LNG. This is what I feel.
You are one of the most affected persons,
Yes.
so obviously.
So, see, being a gas retailing business, this affects us most because our purchase is in advance. Obviously, when we sell, the customers are not tied up completely on the back-to-back kind of thing, because we have very small customers to a large customers. But more or less we can say that we are naturally not hedged, or I would say we are completely exposed in that sense. So yes, it is up to the CGD company to build its internal systems or a pricing kind of policy as to how much it can pass through, how much it should not, or at what frequency it should do. Because market wants fundamentally our customer segment, the segment which we cater to, they definitely need a stable kind of pricing. Because just an example, on CNG side, if I see the CNG, which is for most of these companies, CNG is a significant portion of our sales. The petrol and diesel prices don't change every day. Although they should, they can, everything is okay, but we know that for the last 2 years, they have been almost stay same. So customers do expect the CNG should also remain the same, because ultimately it's an auto fuel. It has replaced the petrol. So the expectation of customers is for the stable pricing policy. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to do our own mathematics around it, because customers, not everyone, in fact, very small portion of the customers only use the pass-through mechanism to which we can accept. So we are working ourselves, our own maths. Yes, nowadays, the good thing has happened that even the gas suppliers, they can offer a hedged kind of product to us. And as a company also, we can also do the hedging directly. So these things are being explored, and I think a lot of people are using it also. So that's going to help us in future. We are also able to pass on a complete hedged kind of fixed price portfolio to our customers. That is building the portfolio also.
So that's great. But Deepak, I have a different question for you.
But I want to answer this also.
Yeah, but I have, okay, go on, go ahead.
Just I would give only three suggestions, sir. One, I said that you should have maybe 60-70% long term, 30% spot. And in long term also you can have different assessments. Maybe one contract can be linked to Brent, one can be WIM, one can be GIXI. And third, as Bashiji mentioned, hedging, which is very common outside India but not very common in India. The issue is that the big players like GAIL, IOCL, they offer back-to-back contracts. So they are not exposed to price volatility. It's ultimately the end consumer who is exposed to prices. So even RBI also allowed around 3 years back that if a small industry, they are able to demonstrate that they are exposed to international prices, it's legally allowed to hedge in international exchanges. Because in India, the liquidity is only restricted to near month and there is no liquidity in far month contracts. But now you can legally hedge yourself in CME, ICE. Okay. So this concept is not very well, I would say, communicated, or industries are not aware. So once the proper knowledge is imparted, maybe hedging can be the best solution.
My question to you, it's a slightly different question. You see, the long-term contract today, if we have a look at 12% indexation, it should be close to around $8 per million BTU. But your GIXI, your exchange, if you have a look at your exchange prices at different locations, it is somewhere close to around $10 to $11 per million BTU. So, I really wonder that why the volatility of prices, though the spot contracts are always today are at around $10 to $11 per million BTU. But the long-term contract basis with 12% indexation on the Brent prices of $66, $67 per barrel, it works out to around $8 to $8.5 per million BTU. So if the volumes are traded at $10 to $11 per million BTU on your gas exchange, what kind of consumers really offtake that gas at a little higher prices compared to oil and petroleum product, or even the long-term price of long-term indexation price of LNG?
Sir, when you talk about a portfolio of any entity, there are different types of assessments. One is, say, Brent linked, one is Henry Hub linked. As Bashiji also mentioned, they have a medium contracts, long-term contracts, and they also buy from the spot. So the cheapest gas is consumed first. That's the reason Brent contracts are not available in the open market. What comes on IGX is basically linked to, maybe linked to WIM or JKM, because people who are selling, they are selling from their portfolio. So it is less than WIM also, but more than Brent. And the major consumers would be, I would say, CGD is the largest consumer. Power is I would say, they are driving IGX today. The one contribution IGX has made today that we have moved towards the real-time market. So nobody thought that trading today at 4 and the molecules are available at 5 p.m. So that has become a reality. In last 1 month, we have traded more than 20 lakh MMBTUs, and all have been sourced by power companies in an intraday or a day at contract. So currently, you can say they are our major consumers. Fertilizer is one segment that we are missing, because we are awaiting some clarity from MOPNG that if the molecules are sourced from IGX, that would also qualify for subsidy distribution. So once that clarity is received from the policy makers, you would see volumes increasing like anything.
One very, very interesting question I just want to ask you is, on your exchange, gas quotes are there from Gadimoga also.
Yes, sir.
So Gadimoga gas, the KG basin gas, that's a fixed price. Fixed price mandated by the government for HPHT and deep water gas. So I just, you may choose not to answer. I just want to ask you whether Reliance quotes sometimes the gas at a lower prices than the government mandated prices?
We saw this trend around 1 year back, sir. That time, the ceiling price was around $10, but the international spot prices were around $8.50. So initially they started with a ceiling price, but we couldn't get any buyers that time because in their DGH auction also few of the consumers had nominated to 90%. So they had extra production that time. So that time they sold below ceiling price also, sir. So that we have already seen price discovery happening in HPHT molecules also on IGX.
So maybe, I mean, in distress conditions, the producers can sell at a lower prices also than the government mandated prices.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. It's the market prevails. Yeah, coming to Vivek.
So just to add to what Mr. Gupta said, so definitely long-term contracts help in containing the volatility. But choosing the indexation is very much important aligned to that thing. If you look at directly linked to a Brent contract with the Brent volatility of moving by say $20, which is a 25%, so you will find the similar kind of a volatility in crude link contract. If you go on a spot-based index like JKM or WIM, which where the volatility is quite high, so you will find the prices moving there quite a lot. Those entities who are willing to have a kind of a stable price, hedging is definitely the key. Either they do it on their own as allowed by RBF since past few years, or they ask their suppliers to provide them a hedge price based on a base contract. So these hedging and a long-term contract based on a carefully chosen index will definitely help in containing the volatility.
Yeah, it's really great to see that ArcelorMittal is able to manage LNG with volatility of prices for the steel sector, which we have not been able to manage in India, and we hope that our steel sector learns a lot from you managing gas-based steel plants in future to come, and that would be a great innovation in India. So thank you very much for giving your submissions.
Just to add to that thing, like so for us, hedging definitely plays a big role, and we are hedging it until 2030. So looking at opportunities, then wherever the price is conducive to hedge, we hedge that thing and contain the volatility for the future period.
All right, so thanks a lot. Any questions? Slido? Any questions? Okay. So regarding boil of gas in marine sector, there are very harsh rules for release of boil of gas. Why in India trucks stations does not have boil of gas recovery systems and strict rules? So that Mr. Maqsood, is he there? Not there. So anyone would like to answer this question? Basil?
So I guess there was some public discussion document which has been web hosted by PNGRB regarding some boil of gas, how to contain that thing on LNG station.
Yes, so I think it's not that government or the regulators are not mindful of this fact of BOG. It's an important point. I think as more and more LNG stations are getting set up, the regulators are trying to basically work out with the CGD companies. So there has to be a collaborative effort between the CGD company and the LNG station operators to utilize the BOG either in the pipeline or in the form of LCNG. So I think the efforts are going on. Somewhere it is already being done also. More and more, as more and more station comes, the collaboration increases, and we are also in talk with some of the oil companies for doing that. So it is being done. I think it will take some time.
So, Pratik, let me answer your question, especially the marine sector. When we started our two ships, Rahi and Disha, there was boil off which was being used in boilers for generating steam and generating power. So what happened was that the boil off was being completely used for the boilers. Besides that, for generating steam and then generating power with the steam power, we were using, instead of using furnace oil, we were using forced boil off in the ship so as to go for 100% LNG propulsion in our two LNG ships, and the third also adopted the same manner. But now what's happening, the question what you have asked is, the newly produced ships which have 100% propulsion either from LNG or any other sources, I don't think that there would be any boil-off gas provision for there, because they would be using 100% propulsion only on LNG into their boilers to generate electricity and fine, I mean, use it for the ship movement. So that's the way. I don't think that the new generation ships which are made on the natural gas or LNG to be used for the propulsion system, whether it is a gas turbine or the steam turbine, they would not be leaving any boil-off provision for ships. So, I mean, there's no question comes for the new generation. The old, okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. So, about the ships that you are talking about, Rahi Disha. So, I myself, I am ex-LNG chief engineer on Rahi and Disha. I have worked for Petronet Group for around 12 years. So, my question is in continuation. So, this question was from morning session, whereby it was stated that around 400 kg of BOG is being released from LNG trucks. So in calculation, it will be 70,000 into 400 kg. So when CII and EU ETS and GFI is kicked in, so how much viable it is there whereby we are going for carbon neutralization specifically for India also in 2070 and in IMO for 2050. So that was my question. Thank you, sir.
Any, Basit? We can discuss it later
Sure,
after the summit.
Sure, sir.
So great. I mean, it's been last 2 days have been really good. A lot of knowledge exchange. Okay. No.
So there are two questions for AMNS. So we definitely hedge LNG and USD. USD depends upon our inflow from, like, there are various of cost which we are incurring for new plants. So depending upon the cash flows, we look for hedging USD, but definitely hedging of both LNG and USD happens. We have a requirement of LNG. We are largely contracted until 2030, so we would be looking to tie up beyond 2030. And the volume is, our total requirement is 2 million ton. So we try to diversify with regard to the supply, so restrict about 500,000 ton tie up with the individual supplier.
So anyone like to answer what was the pricing deal, if not exactly, then around for the recent deal by ANMS?
Sorry, I can't comment on that particular thing.
No, normally the price disclosures are not there. So, but then it would be somewhere between 12% to 13% slope, because that's the current rate which is there. Who, according to them, is preferred partner for LNG? Qatar, USA, Australia, or new LNG exporter in Canada? Would you like to answer?
So for us, it would be the cheapest LNG, whatever we can get.
Yeah, the Qatar being the closest, the shipping charges would be the lowest. Rest of that's USA, Australia are the farthest, and their indexation is also beyond 13%. But US, of course, is based on the Henry Hub pricing. So again, I mean, if you have to match between the Brent indexation and Henry Hub pricing, there may be some fluctuations here and there. So sometimes Qatari price may be lower, sometimes Henry Hub price may be lower. So one has to take a call with a risk as to which one is to be chosen, because Brent indexed, at least you know the energy prices. Henry Hub, yes, you don't have the certainty of matching it with the oil and product prices. So include Russia in question. So Russia is going to be around Brent-based. So I think that's all.